Hello everyone and welcome back. If you are new here then hello, my name is Zoe and this is my YouTube channel. So last night I had the amazing opportunity of attending a Zoom masterclass with the amazing Patrick Tarr and also his amazing model Patrick Starr. I was so excited and the masterclass was absolutely amazing. So today I am going to recreate the look which Patrick created on Patrick. I've got 4 pages of notes to go through. I wrote down every single step. And I'll also leave here a picture of the final look that he created. It was absolutely beautiful. Patrick had already done skincare and foundation before we started the masterclass, but I know he's really into his skincare, so I'm going to do everything in today's video. So I'm going to start with skincare first. This is the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Ultra Cream. If you watch any of my videos, you'll know I love La Roche-Posay skincare. I'm just going to pop this all over my skin. I'm going to try and do everything in the same steps that Patrick did, but I think I'm going to do my brows first. Patrick left brows till like a lot later on in the makeup, but today I'm going to do them first just while my skincare is soaking in. And then I'm also going to apply a little bit of MAC's strobe cream just to the high points of my face. I personally have never done a makeup masterclass before. I've never been on one, especially a celebrity one, so it was really good. I'm definitely going to try and do a few more masterclasses because it was really motivating and like inspiring to create more makeup looks and like different techniques to use on clients as well. So I am going to do my brows first, even though Patrick left his till later on, because I want to do soap brows and I need them to set. I have got a full tutorial on soap brows. I'll leave it in that corner and in my description box. Patrick used his brow wax to do brows and he left it till a little bit later on. I don't have all the products that I used in the masterclass, but I'm going to use what I've got to try and create the same look. The soap is just a little bit stronger than just a normal brow gel for me because my brow hairs are quite thick, so this is just a little bit stronger than a brow gel. Okay, so I'm going to leave my brows like that for now and they can just set while I do the rest of the face. I'm going to fill them in with a little bit of powder later on. So Patrick had already done foundation. I do eyes and then skin, but I'm going to do it the way that he did it in the master. So I'm going to use the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops in G20 and the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer in number 6, because this is just a little bit too dark for me at the moment, so I'm hoping this will just lighten it up a little bit. So I am going to use a beauty blender to blend this in. I'm not sure what Patrick used to apply the foundation, but when he was blending his concealer he used like a little brush and a beauty blender sponge as well, so I'm guessing he probably would have used the beauty blender. This is a little bit too dark still. One thing that I did notice about Patrick is he really does take his time to like blend everything into the skin. He did say that it usually takes him around 2 hours to do a full makeup application, so he's really particular and he really makes sure that everything is blended. So I'm going to really take my time, especially with the foundation and the skin because it is more of a full coverage, just to really work it into the skin, make sure that it looks nice and flawless. I'm also going to take a little bit down onto my chest as well because I want to take some nice photos after this, and my chest here always goes really red, so I'm going to apply a little bit of foundation on there as well just to kind of even everything out. So Patrick did say that he applied a little bit of concealer before we started with the eyes. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of a Tarte Shape Tape. This one is in light medium sand. It's not too bright, so I'm just going to tap a little bit of this all over. I don't think that he carved out the brow or anything. Patrick's skin looks just really flawless. No like highlight or contour was done yet. So I'm going to apply just a little bit of this up to my brow, and then I might just apply just a little bit under here and then we can use a brighter one to do our concealer, like a highlight a bit later on. So I'm just using a little fluffy brush, only like a thin layer of this, nothing too heavy. And just take your time and blending. Patrick said that blending is key, so I'm going to really work on my blending today. So the eyes for this look were absolutely stunning. Typical Patrick Tar, like really seamless, neutral colours, like elongated eye, and actually not using that many products, which I was really surprised. I think he only used like a couple of different eyeshadows, and they were like a neutral brown and then a more warmer brown. So I picked the Kylie Cosmetics, this is the bronze palette to use. I'm only going to be using out of here those like opposite corner colours, so that more true brown there and then that more reddish brown. I'm going to start with this one right here. When I do an elongated eye, I kind of wing my eyeshadow up towards my brow, but in this masterclass Patrick did do a more of an elongated eye, but instead of blending the eyeshadow up that way, he just came straight out, which is different to the shape that I would usually do. So I'm going to blend this straight out a little bit, like wing it out, but not upwards like I would usually do. And then he also builds up nicely in this inner corner. He said that blending the eyeshadow is just key. Just keep blending and blending. So that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so then next he moved on to a more reddish brown, so I'm going to use this one, and this he mainly used to like build up this outer V, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm using two separate brushes, so if I need to go back in with the first one then I can, but he did mainly keep this to the outer corner and then again kind of flick it outwards. So I'm going to keep this as much on the outer corner as I possibly can, just so it really does elongate the eye as much as possible. And then when there's hardly anything left on my brush, I'm just going to bring it in just to meet this crease colour, and again blending it out on the outer corner. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back in with that first shade, hardly any on my brush, and just blend over these edges so there's like no harsh lines. Okay, so I'm going to leave the eyes there for now. This is where he moved on to concealer on the under eyes and sharpened up the eyeshadow with the concealer, and then he did like the T-zone area and down the nose as well. So I'm going to apply this with a brush first. So he did the under eyes. He didn't apply too much, and it wasn't like really bright and highlighted. Everything just like fit in his makeup, like everything was just so seamless. Sharpen up this outer corner. So again, I'm going across where my instinct is to wing it up. T-zone area, like the forehead. And then I'm going to try and do the nose, but please don't judge me if this doesn't turn out right. He did a really straight line. I'm going to start by blending this in with my beauty blender. Patrick used a little fluffy brush to blend his in. I might use that for the nose, but I might just apply a little bit more concealer on my under eye if it's not like the full coverage that I want. For my nose, I'm just going to pat this in, trying to keep it in just in that centre. The under eyes, he didn't blend it kind of down too far either. He kept it like really concentrated in the areas that he'd put it and just really worked on blending it out. So first for my under eye, I'm going to use sponge. You could still see a line, but it was a little bit more diffused than like a really sharp line. So I'm just going to keep tapping over just to diffuse it slightly, but I don't want to completely erase it away. Okay, so let's move on to contour. I'm going to use a contour stick. I'm going to use for the perimeter of my face the Rimmel Insta Duo stick. This is in the shade medium. I'm just going to apply it just in my usual areas, and then I'm going to attempt to do the nose. This. Okay, so he came down the sides, and then he blended up towards this inner part of the brow. So he blended out the contour with a brush which he is bringing out shortly, so I'm going to use a Real Techniques contour brush for this. So I'm going to try again only just very kind of small circular motions or tapping to blend this out so it's not too like buffed around. I want to try and keep it in the right areas. I think with like contour products, the thing is to find something which blends out easily. I find the easier that it blends, the better and easier it is to contour. Okay, and then for the nose contour, I think he just used like a brush to tap it in and a beauty blender as well, so that is what I'm going to do. Okay, so next he moved on to baking and he used the Laura Mercier powder. He did share a little trick which he does use for baking so it doesn't like get too cakey for the under eyes. So he presses it into the powder first and then presses it into his hand so you don't get too much powder on your face. So I'm going to try that. I'm mainly baking my under eye area rather than anywhere else because I am so dry. I can't really bake for that long either. And then he did seem to dust that off pretty quickly, so I'm going to just dust that away just gently with a little brush. And then he did go over the rest of the face with the pressed powder, so I'm going to use the MAC Studio Fix. I think he used NW20. I have got NC20, so just use a little bit of this. And make sure everywhere is set. So next he moved on to bronzer. He didn't apply like loads of bronzer. I'm a bronzer freak, so I always apply like too much. So I'm going to try and take it a bit more steady today. I'm going to use the Urban Decay Beached bronzer. This is in the shade Bronzed. I think he used a MAC one. So I'm just going to press this just all over the contour. And I do like to bring a little bit of bronzer on to my cheeks as well, so I'll do that. I'm trying to like press it on rather than sweep it about because I'm a little bit nervous of this like coming up. I don't want to disturb anything underneath because it is quite a full coverage today. And he did also go in with a little bit of bronzer in here, I think, bringing it down where like the contour was on the nose, so I will do that. I am going to practice with the nose contour, I think, because sometimes I feel like my nose can look a little bit washed out because I don't like contour it or define it or anything because I don't necessarily know how to. Okay, so now we moved back on to the eyes. So he used the warm brown that I used, so I'm going to use that one there for the under eyes. He met like in this outer corner, and he also went all the way in to this inner corner and buffed it right into this area here. So that is what I'm going to do. I do like quite a smoky like under eye, even if it's just a little bit of like bronzer or like a natural coloured eyeshadow, because my under eyes are so dry they always crease really bad, so I feel like that like disguises them a little bit. Okay, so next he did the upper and lower waterline with a brown eye pencil. So I'm using the Barry M, the bold waterproof brown eye pencil. This is quite a warm brown. I like this because my eyes are more blue and I feel like it complements the colour a little bit. So I'm going to just do in the waterline. Again, he came all the way in, then the upper waterline. Okay, so next he did mascara and lashes, which I'm actually going to do off camera just because they're always quite fiddly, but I'm going to use like really winged out ones just to emphasise this shape a little bit. So I will be right back in 2 seconds. Okay guys, so my lashes are on. My camera battery did actually just die, so while that was charging, all I did was just go through my eyebrows with a little bit of brow powder just to fill them in a little bit. That's all I've done. So next we're moving on to blush. So for blush, Patrick used 2 in this masterclass, and one was quite like very neutral, like hardly there blush, and then the other one was a bit more of a peachy tone. So I don't have the ones that he was using, so all I'm going to do is apply a little bit more bronzer from this contour palette just onto my cheeks to act as like the more neutral one that I used. It was literally like barely there, very like neutral in tone. It was really, really nice, but I'm not really a blush person. Like, I don't really have many. I think I only have like 3 different blushes and that is it. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of this first, and then he applied more of a peachy one over the top. So for that I'm going to use my Luminoso from Milani, and he also used this like through the eyes as well. So I'm going to press this onto my cheeks first. I think Luminoso is one of my all-time favourites, like ever. And then I'm going to take a fluffy brush, and he just went through the crease with this. I'm not going to apply too much because it is quite a shimmery blush. It's not like completely matte, so I don't want to do sort of too much, but he did just go through the crease with the blush that he used as well. But on page 3 of 4, so it's not too long now until we've finished. So next he baked under the jawline, so I'm going to use the Laura Mercier powder for that. I think he used a different one. I think he might have used the Fenty powder to do under Patrick's jawline, but I don't have that one, and this works quite well baking wise for me. And then while that's there for just 2 seconds, I'm going to apply my mascara. I'm going to actually wipe this off with a tissue first because it's a new mascara and I don't want this to go everywhere. Don't want to mess it up now, guys. Okay, then just dusting that powder away. And then after that he set the face with a dewy skin mist. He used his setting spray. I don't have that, so I'm using the MAC Fix Plus from MAC. So next he moved on to highlighter, and he just did the tip of the nose and the inner corners. So I'm going to use MAC Soft and Gentle for this. So just in the inner corners, and then just on the nose, do a little bit in the middle. So the next bit was the most exciting bit. Patrick used a new highlighter which is not released yet, which he is bringing out, and we were the first to see it, which is amazing. It was so beautiful. It's like a balm, like quite liquidy but not like a complete fluid. It was quite translucent but very glossy. It was absolutely stunning, but obviously we don't have that yet because it's not come out. So instead of this, he said we could use a lip gloss. He used it on the eyes. The product you can use on the face, the eyes and the lips as well. So he used it on the eyes to create like a really glossy finish, and I'm going to try and use a clear gloss for this. I hope I don't F this up. The only clear gloss that I have is this one for Barry M, so I'm just going to try that. The key is with this not to use too much but to use enough at the same time, and I've never done this. So he pretty much put the gloss, well, his balm, everywhere, all over. And he said to use something more translucent as well. So I thought a clear gloss would be fine. I haven't come down to close because I don't want this to disturb my eyelash glue or anything. I'm using just enough, I think, to give like a glossy finish, but at the same time I don't want this to like disturb my eyeshadow. Okay, so I'm not going to apply it anymore. I might do a little bit more at the end, but I don't feel like I want to apply too much. It's a bit scary. So let's move on to lips. He used his lip combination from his product line, which I don't have, so I'm going to just use what I've got. So first, he used like a light nude to line the lips and to fill them in as well. I do like to overdraw mine a bit, so. And then for the outer, I'm going to use, this actually needs some sharpening. This is Los Angeles NYX. Okay, and then for lipstick, I'm going to use Kylie Cosmetics Expose. This is a matte liquid lip. And then he did also apply a little bit of his new highlighter to the cheeks as well, but I don't have like any cream highlighters. The only thing that I have is Hush from MAC, which is a cream colour base. So I'm going to apply a little bit of this, and then maybe I will apply a little bit of highlighter over the top. So I'm just going to apply this with my finger, then go over it with my beauty blender. I feel like it blends a little bit better with your finger because it warms it up a little bit. And then he did also do the gloss over the lips as well, which I will also do. So guys, that completes my recreation of Patrick Tar's makeup look from his masterclass last night on Patrick's store. I absolutely love it. I've learned a lot of new techniques, and I quite like that glossy eyelid as well, and it doesn't feel too much, and it's not separating my eyeshadow or anything. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments how I did. I really hope you enjoyed today's makeup look. Let me know if you did down in the comments. Please give it a big thumbs up as well, and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next week in my next one. Bye!